Let's start this with a prayer. Dear Father, I thank you for this day and this opportunity to be used as a vessel to let your people know that you are available, able, and ready in the name of Yeshua from Nazareth. Let's cut this spread. Deuteronomy 36, moreover, the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul so that you may live. So for the next 21 days, I had cut out these things and I numbered them randomly, and we're just going to talk, right? But let me read this from the Message version. I like the Message version. God, your God, will cut away the thick calluses on your heart and your children's hearts, freeing you to love God, your God, with your whole heart and soul and live, really live. God, your God, will put all these curses on your enemies who hated you and were out to get you. So maybe you didn't know that you had enemies who were out to get you, or maybe you didn't know that your heart was calloused, but let me tell you what that looks and what it sounds like. Now, I grew up very harshly, and I was taught to have no emotions and to just talk at people and treat them a certain type of way. I don't ever remember smiling. I don't ever remember being soft. I still struggle with it now. But it's something that definitely God has cut away. And when he circumcised, this heart of stone that I had. And when you have a heart of stone, it's okay for you to easily belittle people, to hurt them and not care that you're hurting them, to be super insensitive to their feelings and basically show no sympathy. It's like having no feelings. Because, having no feelings is a state where you have so many feelings that you have to keep this facade up of having nothing and being stone cold. Hence, the heart of stone. But God is so good because in Deuteronomy 28, he's having Moses tell the people about the curses that would happen if you walk away from God's goodness. But God is so amazing that he keeps coming back for us. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I know about me, and I know I have walked out on him time and time again. I know that I have not been faithful. I know that I have not had the long suffering and the perseverance that he does, but because he is merciful, because he shows grace, and because his loving kindness will endure for forever, he comes back. I didn't deserve it. I was a rotten person and didn't care. Like, even as short as 7 or 8 years ago after my car accident, instead of being humbled and grateful that, I wasn't dead or that none of my children were hurt, I became angry because of the situation that I was now in where I have a disability. Now, it took me a while to get my hand moving, but it was definitely supernatural healing on his part for me. But my mind wasn't healed. My heart was hardened, and I was at work popping off at 3 o'clock in the morning, ready to fight people, not caring about nothing. But his love, right? His love is so amazing because he cut that off. He cut that off. And then when I started seeing how good he was and how he came through, my kid's dad tried to rape me and kill me. Literally was punching me in my face, trying to knock my teeth out, hit me in my arm. And my arm is messed up. It started hitting me in my leg, really trying to take me out in front of my children. So after he went to jail, I was bitter. But God being like, I told you, I'm going to be here for you. And really waiting for me to recognize what he has done and who he is and who he's been in my life. Now, maybe you might not have a situation where your baby daddy is trying to rape you or beat you in front of everybody else, but that was my reality back then. And that's just the most recent like callousness that I had, and me having to go through the depression, me having to fight through getting the use back of like my arm and my leg and my mentals being on point again. And now that I've seen the hardness that I had and what he's done and how he's loved me so patiently, I don't want to go out here sinning and looking for anything else. Like he, where did I see this? It says in the Amplified, the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the hearts of your descendants. That is, he will remove the desire to sin from your heart. If I needed to get away from it, I would literally run away for a little bit and then come back. Over drinking, smoking too much, like getting buzzed down, the emptiness of that alone. And seeing that I'm missing the mark between me and him, somebody who really loves me, and us being intimate with each other, because intimacy is just not sex, but it's really being in the moment with the other person or even God and allowing him into you. Like being completely transparent and putting everything on the table. Now, I'm not sitting here knocking any of people's decisions, but I will knock down mine because it wasn't bringing me closer to him. It wasn't bringing me any type of satisfaction or pleasure to treat myself less than what he was treating me. And then him teaching me how to love so I could teach my kids how to love so that we could all love him with our whole heart, our whole mind, our whole soul, and that we would really live, because it's not living. I don't care what anybody says. If you ain't rocking with him, you're not living. You could think that job is okay, but it shows that it's not when you're posting about it on Facebook. You could be like, that relationship is okay, but it shows that it's not when you're posting on Instagram. You could show that, you know, whatever accolades you got are okay, but it's not if you posting sad stuff on TikTok. That shows the void, and he literally is the one to fill that void. That callousness, that hardness around your heart, he's the only one that can take it off, because there ain't no self-help book that I could read that would get me to a point where I'm sitting here chiseling my own stuff. If anything, I'm just going to stab myself, like trying to do something that's beyond my reach. Now, I have this conversation with him about him making me a softer woman. And he was never going to make me a softer woman. I had to fall into the softness that he had established for me. And that's when I began living. Because what, do I need to have a certain amount of money to live? We know plenty of people with money who ain't living. Or plenty of people who have money but end up committing suicide because that wasn't it. Or buying the house or buying the car or moving forward in this world. That's really not living. But waking up and having the joy of the Lord versus the hate of the world on you is completely different. And this is what he does. And you know, my job is just to encourage a conversation. So if I got to put my business out there and tell you how I was, so you could holler at him, you see me. What? Let's see. I live in the hood. I got 7 kids. I wrote 2 books. I trademarked my own word. It wasn't on my own doing. My kids are successful. They're healthy. They're alive. They're blessed by him. The books, he put that on me. He gave me that. I never would have thought. He sent me to nail school to do my own nails so it could be my own therapy when I was healing from my car accident. Gave me the word thug mercy and said, this is yours. Solidify that. Told me what every letter in the word meant. That's living. To do things that are beyond you. To wake up and not feel the stress or the depression or the suicidal thoughts. And really love you, because I hated me for so long because of this callousness that was around my heart wouldn't allow me to love me. So I encourage you, whatever it is, let him come through. If you're not living the way you think you should be living, maybe it's not really living. If your heart is hardened, I encourage you to get it soft. Definitely give you the strength and determination to go wherever you want to go in life. God is amazing. Really quick before I go, 7 in Deuteronomy 30 from the Amplified, the Lord your God will inflict all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate you, who have persecuted you. And you shall again listen to and obey the voice of the Lord and do all his commandments, which I command you today. Then the Lord your God shall make you abundantly prosperous in everything that you do, in the offspring of your body and in the offspring of your cattle and in the produce of your land. For the Lord will again delight over you for good, just as he delighted over your fathers. If you listen to and obey the voice of the Lord your God to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, if you turn to the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. 11. For this commandment which I am commanding you today is not too difficult for you, nor is it out of reach. It is not a secret hidden in heaven that you should say, who will go up to heaven for us and bring it to us so that we may hear it and obey it? Nor is it beyond the sea that you should say, who will cross the sea for us to bring it to us so that we may hear it and obey it? But the word is very near you, in your mouth and in your heart, so that you may obey it. Nothing extra needed. He wants to bless you with all of these things. Obey and hear. Hear and obey his commandments and his statutes. Watch your life turn around. Become a better parent, become a better woman, become a better man, become a better employee, become a better everything. He said, the Lord your God shall make you abundantly prosperous in everything that you do. What you waiting for? Holla at God.